fans, welcome back to Room 237, and I guess this is a slasher film, a supernatural slasher film, I guess, but it's 1981's Evilspeak, which was directed, produced, and written by Eric Weston, and stars Clint Howard in the lead. Which, Clint Howard, he's one of those actors I think everybody would recognize, but doesn't quite know who he is. I've seen him in a bunch of things. I don't think I've ever seen him as a lead in something. I do know he would go on to be in a 90s slasher film called Ice Cream Man. Also stars R.G. Armstrong, people might recognize from Predator. And there's three really cool people that I got excited to see in this. One of which is a cook played by Lenny Montana, who played Luca Brasi in the first Godfather. I'm a huge Godfather fan. And then there's also Lauren Lester and Richard Mall, which I think people would recognize Richard Mall from the TV show Night Court. But Lauren Lester would go on to voice Dick Grayson Robin in Batman the Animated Series. And Richard Mall would go on to voice Harvey Dent Two-Face in Batman the Animated Series. So that's really fucking cool to me, because the animated series is my favorite thing, Batman. Of course, he would also voice the Bat-Computer, Thomas Wayne, a couple of the supporting roles. But anyway, and yeah, this was a video nasty in the early 80s. But this is kind of like the boy version of Carrie. There's no telekinesis, but it is supernatural. It deals more with Satanism. But Clint Howard plays this poor kid who is sent to a military academy after his parents are killed in a car accident. And he is just relentlessly tormented and bullied by everyone. The other boys at the academy, the teachers, the sergeants, the soccer coach, because he's on the soccer team, everybody treats this kid like shit. Of course, it opens back during the Dark Ages. In Spain, Father Lorenzo Esteban, played by Richard Mall, he's conducting this religious execution where he wants these followers to renounce Satan. Of course, they won't. And he beheads this one woman, and her head flies off, turns into a soccer ball. That's the transition. As we go into present day, they're playing soccer. And yeah, just everyone picks on this kid. His name is Stanley Cooper Smith. And, you know, he gets punished for things he doesn't do or things that are beyond his control. He gets these really shitty jobs. And, you know, he's made fun of for being an orphan. His teachers think he's inept, but they like to... Like, his coach thinks he's useless in soccer, but they still make him play because the academy believes everybody should play. But it's really because they kind of like to see him fail and get picked on. So it doesn't really say why, but he's being punished for something. And his chore is to clean this huge crypt-looking cellar underneath the academy, which he finds this diary, which belonged to Father Esteban. And he uses his computer skills. He's really good with computers. He's like a typical 80s nerd. I do like the arc of his character because he is a really good kid throughout the whole film up until this one event where he goes full Satan. But he uses his computer to translate the diary from Latin to English. And he uses his free time to gather what he needs for black magic and to bring forth Satan, to use it against his tormentors. And I'm watching it, and a while goes by, and I'm just like, I don't think this might just be a supernatural horror film. I don't think this is really a slasher. And like, one of the scares, I guess, is he gets called into the dean's office where he gets caned for no good reason, for being late, even though his dorm mates unplugged his clock. So it wasn't his fault, but he still gets caned. And he leaves the diary there, and it has some jewels in the cover. And the secretary keeps it. His punishment is to clean the stables out of the pig pen. She tries to take the jewels out, and the pigs go crazy and try to attack him. And basically, the first, like, 2 acts of this film is him trying to get all these rituals ready to summon Esteban or Satan. And just him getting picked on, to the point where, for a while, it's like, okay, they just keep pulling pranks on him. The only people that are nice to him is this one other kid and the cook, played by the guy that played Luca Brasi of Lenny Montana. Which at one point, Lenny Montana, he lets him stay after for lunch, and he gives him a steak. He feels really bad. And he even cracks a joke to him, and Clint Howard smiles. It's like the only time he really smiles in the film. Adds a little bit of levity. But he takes him out back and he shows him something. He found this dog, and it had a puppy. And he has nowhere to put it. So he gives him the puppy. And he keeps the puppy down in the cellar, because he can't keep it in his dorm. And, he's really good to the dog. It's really his only friend, other than those 2 characters. And for a while, the computer seems to be working on its own. Like, it says it needs, like, blood and a host, like a blood ritual. He's about to be attacked by this groundskeeper played by R.G. Armstrong. And somehow, like, the computer will make, like, it's a early 80s computer. But we'll see, like, a pentagram doing some shit. And he, like, does this thing, his head spins all the way around. I will say this is kind of a gore film. There is some good effects in it. You gotta wait a while, but I don't know. Allergies, I'm tired. I just wanted to make this video. I know I sound like shit. I know I'm gonna get a comment, which I'm addressing it, so why be an asshole? And it's all building up, like Carrie, it's all building up to this big ending. Of course, Carrie's a much better film. Not to say this one's bad. I mean, this one, Clint Howard did do a good job with his role. You really did feel bad for him. You don't blame him for the ending, turning over to Satan to, do what happens at the ending. But basically, I guess I'll start spoilers here. There's not really much to say about this film. I mean, there's even one point where the secretary, like, goes to where she stays, and the pigs get from the stable to her room and eat her. It's not like the computer sends demons out to get people. or it's like a killer computer. You know, it's not like HAL from 2001, but yeah, I'm gonna. It's okay. It's a very different supernatural slasher. Very light on the slasher, but you do get a couple deaths. Like eventually, you know, so you got the groundskeeper, the secretary. This one guy is following. This one teacher is following Stanley around, follows him down to the cellar, and this was kind of silly. Stanley grabs him and like throws him. And it's like a quick cut to this spiky chandelier where he sticks to it. Because that's like right before Stanley does what he has to do to summon Satan. But, so don't go into it thinking you're going to get a full-blown slasher. But, just thinking of how formulaic slashers can be, even supernatural ones, this one is pretty different, and it is enough to keep you interested, at least me. I thought Clint Howard did do a good job. You really feel bad for him, and you really want to see these bullies just get it, which at the end they do. But there's some stuff, if you haven't seen it yet, it's for free on YouTube, and I don't really want to give it away, but spoilers here. The bullies, I think they tell him something about, you know, you better quit the team or else we're gonna go do something to your dog that we know you have down in the cellar. He's kicked off the team anyway. But there's like 4 boys. They bring a couple girls down. They sneak them in. They go down to the cellar. They find his dog. And the leader of the group, who they call Bubba, he kills the dog. They find his computer. It says needs blood, you know, blood sacrifice or blood host. You don't see it, but they kill the dog. And they do show enough, like him holding it down and it sort of whining. And yeah, they kill the dog. Stanley then, when he finally gets back, the cellar is messed up. He goes to where he kept the puppy, and there's blood everywhere. He has a breakdown. Next time we see him, he's holding like the bloody lump of the puppy. And it's sad. It sucks. At this point, the rest of the team is getting dressed. They sort of make a joke that Stanley must have got the message because he's not here. And his one friend is there. He's like, "What do you mean he got the message?" They kind of make dog noises, which he didn't know he had a dog. So he's running around looking for him. The coach tells him to go down to the chapel because they're going to get like a pep talk by the reverend or something. And while they're down there, or while they're in the chapel, that's when Stanley throws the guy against the chandelier, drinks his blood, does the final ritual, and Esteban comes back, sort of takes over him. And this is where all the effects come in. I mean, the statue of Jesus on the cross, one of the nails comes out, hits the reverend in the head, and then there's an explosion, and Clint Howard just kind of rises up. He has this big sword, and you have the Carrie ending. They can't get out. He kills everyone. The pigs are released. They eat, I think, 2 of them. He decapitates. One of them gets caught on fire. The whole team is there, not just the bullies. A couple of them get decapitated. Again, cool effect, especially when the coach gets decapitated. Like I said, one gets caught on fire. A couple of them get eaten by the pigs. Blood goes everywhere. Bubba manages to escape, get down to the cellar. And for whatever reason, the R.J. Armstrong guy is now the one that had his head spun around is now alive. And we see him reach inside of him, pull out his beating heart. Cool effects. And Clint Howard looks like he's having fun. I mean, when he gets to swing that sword, he's all like decapitating people. The ending was kind of a bummer because we get this old English text that says like due to the shock and catatonic withdrawals from seeing his friends killed. Of course, this is to the outside world. The shock of seeing his friends get killed puts him in this sort of catatonic state, and he's committed to a nearby asylum where he still is. But then we see the computer, even some of the computer effects. Like, yeah, it looks like an early 80s 8-bit computer, but when it's doing its pentagram and flamey shit, it actually looks kind of cool. And throughout the whole film, it was saying, this sort of satanic prayer and Esteban, I will return. But now it says Stanley Cooper Smith, I will return. And we see like a red 8-bit Clint Howard face. So now he's the sort of like the new spirit that can be conjured, I guess. So yeah, I guess it's a slasher film. If it is, it's definitely a supernatural slasher, but I like the fact that it's an outsider story like Carrie. You don't get a lot of films like that. I feel like this is more like Carrie than a lot of other films that get compared to Carrie. Especially with, it had a Carrie ending. Everyone locked in one room, he's there. Otherworldly shit going on. I thought Clint Howard did a really good job with his role. You really felt bad for him. You really hate the bullies, especially after they kill his cute little puppy. I like the arc of him being, a really sweet, kind, gentle kid to being the embodiment of Satan and decapitating people. And of course, it was really cool to see Lauren Lester and Richard Mall, Robin and Two-Face, and Luca Brasi. It's just, you really get 3 kills really spread out throughout the film. Even takes a while to get to the first one. And then you don't have anything up until the big finale of the Carrie ending. But I can say I enjoyed it. It was definitely different, but it's not my favorite slasher. It's not my favorite supernatural slasher, but it's definitely different. I enjoyed it for what it was. My suspension of disbelief wasn't totally turned off. I was always curious to see what happened next. I can say I enjoyed 1981's Evilspeak more than I thought I would after reading what it was about. I guess I was surprised by it, but thank you for watching.